when I first met Al, he was doing his slideshow, and he had for some years 100 people at a time, and it was a circa 2005. I said, Al, you can do these slideshows forever, and we're not going to reach a critical mass of people. We should do a movie. And Al thought, okay, well, you'll humor these Hollywood
I didn't say okay. I was against it. I was opposed to it. And I thought that there was no way a slideshow would be material for a movie, but Jeff was persistent and introduced me to the people with so much talent in the industry. But it's Jeff's drive and determination to use entertaining, compelling movies to help raise consciousness and change the world. He's the guy that deserves credit. There's some very deep themes in this movie that I wouldn't have thought of on my own. There's a lot of humor, there's a lot of passion, there's science, and most of all, there's hope, because the climate crisis can be a forbidding topic if you allow yourself to sink into despair. A lot of damage is being done and a lot is at risk, but in the 10 years or so since the first movie was made, the progress on developing solutions has been just extraordinary, way faster than anybody expected would be the case. So I think people come out of this movie, and we've now been able to talk to a couple of the large audiences that have seen it, and very gratified by the over-the-top reaction. But we've also heard from them that they appreciate getting an update on the science and the really kind of scary stuff that's going on, but they even more appreciate the fact that they come away hopeful and energized, and many of them committed to become a part of this movement, because this movie is really intended to inspire a movement.
One interesting thing about the film, it's a little bit related to that, that's kind of what we witnessed when we were filming, and you see in the film, is kind of this feedback loop that's happened since the first movie. In An Inconvenient Truth, Al sounded the alarm, and Davis Guggenheim did such an incredible job of just focusing the message and making that so dramatic. But now what's happened is 10 years on, there's an army of people who've seen that movie. And sometimes people in the army trying to solve the climate crisis have a sense that we're in some kind of echo chamber and only talking to ourselves. But we witnessed something actually quite the opposite, that there's this magnification that's taken place out there. The people that Al has trained in his organization, but who's also seen the movie and read articles and seen other movies about this issue, have gone on to be elected representatives of their communities, start companies that are now making the technology that Al was talking about that's going to help dig us out of this. It's not like it's an accident that we have this technology now that's going to save the planet. The people who've invented it have been inspired by this message and have gone on to do something about it.
We're always looking for the right moment, and we realized about 18 months ago we were coming up on the 10-year anniversary, and we felt that that was a permission to talk about what had happened over the last 10 years, what we had talked about 10 years ago and what had come true and what was new and interesting. And we realized there was, a reflection piece that needed to be brought back to the world about what had happened, but also this exciting new opportunities for solutions with clean energy and the costs coming down and the opportunity to really have a clean energy world. So 18 months ago, Al and I agreed that was, we would go ahead and do it. And Diane Wireman, who runs the documentary group at Participant, took over from there and brought in John and Bonnie, who addressed my biggest fear of all. I'm fearful of climate change, and I'm fearful of bad things in the world, but I was very fearful that we might make a boring film. This is not a boring film. And credit to John and Bonnie and our lead actor, Al.
We first met Al about 18 months ago, as Jeff said, and had the opportunity to see his extended slideshow presentation and use that as kind of the root basis of how to start thinking about the narrative. There were certain things from the presentation that we wanted to do. We wanted to include in the film the updated science, of course. There's a lot more to talk about in terms of solutions. There's a lot to talk about in terms of where things have gone in the past 10 years since An Inconvenient Truth was made. in terms of the climate crisis. So we kind of used that as a platform to then think about how to construct the film.
In April of 2015, when we thought it would be a good idea to make another movie, we had no idea how the next 18 months would unfold. And yesterday I was asked a question, well, what's the formula when you make a movie? And it was asked by somebody who does feature films, you know. I say, well, in feature films you have a script and you have a shooting schedule and you have a release date and everything goes by clockwork. In a documentary, things unfold and you have no idea what's going to happen. And so John and Bonnie and Al were in the right place at the right time in a lot of occasions. And so the election is just one piece of this 18-month story arc. And there's a lot more that will come after the film is released. So who knows?